Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for Camp Canva. My name is Elliot Williams, and I'm the training manager at the National Press Club Journalism Institute. I'm joined today by Abigail Monsour. She is a digital editor with Bloomberg Industry Group. Abigail, thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. So, like Elliot said, I'm a digital editor. I joined last year. My main focus is social video. So I'm running our Bloomberg government law and TikTok social channels, focusing on social video, covering everything from TikTok to Instagram to even LinkedIn now. And I also help out doing Canva, like social cards and some audience planning as well. When you're starting with your video, you want to make sure you're in the right kind of file. So Canva's great because it will optimize your kind of display to be what kind of thing you're working on. So you want to make sure you're in either like a mobile video or specifically like a TikTok or Instagram reel because it will give you this display down here where you can see your full timeline. So that's really key. Otherwise, you're going to see it broken up like cards instead. So this
And
helps
you're
you kind of,
talking about the format specifically, right? The sort of
yes.
dimensions here.
Yeah, so if you wanted to see like if you resize it to you can see all these different like sizes. So you can see like TikTok video, photo mode. Making sure you're in some kind of video will give you the timeline that you have down here. Otherwise, it'll be like multiple cards and you won't see that like nice fluid editing like you see like in Premiere and
Hmm.
iMovie. You can see him kind of catching himself.
Hakeem Jeffries thinks Democrats are on a strong.
So Hakeem, we want that to start at Hakeem Jeffries. So we're going to scrub through this timeline through his little laugh and
Hakeem Jeffries.
perfect. So let's go and we're going to right click on the photos and you're going to see all these options. Now you can do right click every time to pull up this menu, but you'll see me use some shortcuts. So instead of hitting split page in this here, I'm going to hit the S on my keyboard and that will do the same thing. You're now created two different cuts, and I can go ahead and delete this first part. So that
And when
way
you
it
deleted,
starts.
did you just click on that clip and hit delete, or is
Yeah,
there
I just
another way
hit
to
and
do it?
click delete.
Okay.
You can also still again right click and hit
Uh,
all these little side cuts. So your typical Control C, Control V, but delete and then split are like the two that I'll be using on my keyboard. The rest is like his second take. So I'm just gonna, I know that from recording. So I'm gonna hit split again. I'm just gonna go ahead and delete this ending part. So now we've broken that minute 30 clip down to under a minute. But I do think he kind of gets in the weeds here. So thinking editorially, I'm gonna just focus on that first clip that he said where he talks about a past example.
Example, when Republicans tried to repeal the Affordable Care Act, the Democrats defeated them.
Right there. That's when he finished. So again, I'm gonna show you again, split, but you could also just hit S and we'll take this out. So now we've gotten 40 seconds, sweet spot. I like to keep my social video anywhere between 45 seconds and a minute. It's kind of that's the industry standard, I would say, for TikTok and Instagram Reels
got it.
specifically. Like if you look at your data, people will scroll within the first couple seconds. So
Mm.
when I was working with John, I tried to get him to say the important name, shut down, those like key buzzwords in those first couple seconds. That's more of like a producing thing I'm thinking about when I'm working with reporters, but really trying to hook people in. You want to be a little clickbaity with video sometimes. It's okay. Now that we have our clip, we're going to go and start adding some animations and some graphics. I leave captioning for the end because you never know what your timeline's going to be. And normally I'm going through this with an editor. And so I want the video itself to be perfect before I start adding captions because that can be a little bit more finicky to edit once they're already on. So we're going to start with
Hmm.
the lower third. So here, if you go to elements, this is really what part of like if you have Canva Pro, it's really nice. You have a lot more options. But I'm just going to type in lower third, and you're going to see in graphics all these different options. They all have some of them have some little animations. Some of them have the little crown. That's that Canva Pro. But I went ahead and picked this one because it's pretty similar to the one we use, and it's actually free. So that's a nice win. And you can see it's kind of got this fun animation already built in. So once we have that, we're going to go to text. Now, when you're setting up like say you're working in a newsroom, we have like our Bloomberg industry like branding. So here it's all of our fonts that we use. So we use this Avenir Next, and I can go straight to text and grab it. I don't have to worry about matching brand or anything like that. So that's
Hmm.
something you can set up in Canva. So I'm just going to add his name here, John Tamari, and I think that's a good font size, but and I want to add Bloomberg government. I want to make sure we're getting the branding on the video. We don't have like a great logo that's small enough to work as like a bug that you would typically see on videos. So this is my kind of workaround for it. I'm gonna go ahead and say Bloomberg government, and then I'll play with the font a little bit and just bump it up a little bit. But see how it's the same font, but this one's more bold and this one's thinner. It just helps kind of differentiate the two. So I'm
Hmm.
moving it around, but sometimes if you are using your mouse, it's not as uh you can't move really small. So I'm just going with my arrow keys and bumping it up to the exact spot I want it.
So if you want to be precise, you can actually use it almost like
Yeah,
a little video game where you're pushing up and
exactly.
down and
Yeah.
left and right. Okay.
So now that this is in the right spot, I want the actual, or the text is in the right spot. I want the actual lower third in the right spot. So I'm going to go ahead and group all of these items. So I've selected all three, and right here you can see group. This just allows me to now move this as one thing. It just helps me get it in the exact right spot. With social video, you do have to think about the built-in things on the app. So your like likes, comments, and captions. I try to avoid the bottom third for that reason, and I try to keep things left aligned for that same reason. I just try to clear up this space as much as possible because when you upload it to TikTok or Instagram, it's going to be covered.
Hmm.
And that's I can always tell somebody who's not like if newsrooms don't think about that, it comes across like, oh, I can't actually read what they're trying to tell me. I'm just going to keep swiping. So
I
trying to
like
keep
that you're
people
thinking like final product at
exactly.
already in this stage. Yeah.
It just helps come across more professional. Like you're not just like an average user, you're a brand. So because these are two different elements, you have font and a graphic, you have different animation styles. So I'm going to go ahead and just group the text now and go to animate. So I want this to be kind of, let's do a wipe. So see how I've gone over and I clicked animate and it brought up this on the side. I can switch it to element to go specifically to the text, but right now we're working with this group of text. And I think just a pan will be good. It just will help kind of bring that into the shot. And then I'll go ahead and select the actual graphic too and animate and pan as well. So now these will, and I'm only wanting it on the enter. I don't want it to go on the exit. So now if you start the video,
Hakeem Jeffries thinks
they
Democrats are
will
Mm.
animate together
And
on the
just to
rise. Yeah.
show, so when you click on the text, where does that animate option show up? Just so
Right
if
here on
people
the
don't know
top
what it is.
bar.
That
Yeah,
top bar, okay.
the top
And
bar. Yeah.
then when you click on animate, um, I saw that you were able to choose between enter, exit, and
Yeah.
both. Are those the three options over on the
Yes.
left? Okay.
So
And you
that's
can change the speed too. That's
yeah,
interesting.
so that's different animations have different things. Most of like the simple animations will allow you to both on enter or on exit, and you can change the direction. So say you wanted it to come from the right or the left, and you can change the speed too. So I realize that I probably do want that exit animation actually. So I'm going to go
Mm.
back and go and change those just so I have them on both. Because where I ended it is actually at the end of the sentence. So I'm just gonna go back to animate. I've got the group and making sure, see how it's not showing up any animation because it started element. So I'm going back
Hmm.
to group and I'm hitting both. So
Ah,
now
okay.
we do it.
potential shutdown with President Donald Trump. And it's all about healthcare.
So now it's all about healthcare. I'm gonna go back in and split again because I want to add a photo. So I went ahead and uploaded some photos of Hakeem Jeffries that we use in the story. So here, we don't want it to completely overtake it because then we'll lose. Oh wait, I'm on the seat. I accidentally put it on this short clip. I'm just gonna go ahead and delete that and make sure I'm in my right frame. So I want to go and
Government reporters and
find
editors
the
yesterday. And
where I talk about Hakeem Jeffries and I end that sentence. I'm going to go ahead and split. I try not to split in the middle of a word just because that can come across a little glitchy. So,
yesterday. And he,
and I'm going to get right before and he. And I'm just looking for I'm watching his mouth to see. So I'm going ahead and hitting that S button for split. So this is just a 3.7-second clip, but I do want to drag in. So see, I'm dragging it and it's not overtaking the frame. This will allow me to put it on top. If you drag it onto the over thing, so let's see how that would look. If you drag it here and it overtakes the whole thing, you've lost the audio.
Oh, wow. Okay. It just replaces everything there.
It just replaces everything. So I'm going to Command Z, John's back, and we're just going to drag and drop and have it on here. Now, if you ever get in the instance of like you have a lot of things on the slide, hitting position and coming over to layers, you can see everything that's on this this slide. So you can see the video here and the photo here. So say we actually are like, actually we want to hide that. You can just drag and drop the order here.
It's helpful.
But that's just like a nice way of file managing, like if you have a lot of things going on. So now we're here and I'm gonna bring this out like it's covering the whole thing, but I still want John's voice behind it. So here we have taking the whole thing, but nobody just wants to look at a still photo. We want something, some motion going on to keep us interested. So let's look. I like this succession, this kind of slow, we're going to go on enter. Wait, that's not it. I want breathe. This is what we want. It's a little bit slower and it's panning out. However, you noticed that big gap on the top. That's the photo coming through. So this, not the best photo for Canva. If I had some more time, I probably would have found a different one. But what I'm going to do is overexpand. And this is just the breathe animation. I just did scale out. If you wanted, you could scale in. I actually think the scale in looks nicer because now we're ending on the more clean shot of him that's not cut off. But what we're going to do is select the video. We're going to go to edit and we're going to go to background remover. This is kind of your fake green screen that you can do in Canva. It's going to take a second to process, but let's look at some of the photos that we can put behind him. So for example, we could have John look like he's a member of the crowd. So we'll get this wide and we'll have him kind of next to Jeffries. That will look kind of fun. Now that I'm over top, I want to make sure I still have the video. So I'm just going to go back to position and layers and drag John up to the front. So he's nice and present here. I do this a lot with like graphics. If I'm showing like, or if I made a chart or something and I want to showcase the chart and have John be kind of in the background explaining the data, I think that's a great way to use green screen. But I'm going to go ahead and resize him already though. So when it is ready, and so you can see these circles are what changes the size, but I don't actually want his lower half. So I'm going to use these horizontal, like more like rectangular bars to tighten up that shot. So it's just like he's sitting on his shoulder almost.
So the circle points at the corners there, that expands, and then the ones on the top and the sides that crops.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can, and it'll also change the size too. So see how I'm going really wide with it too, but it just helps a lot of times if you remove backgrounds, you end up with a really big box and a small focal point, and it just helps me when I'm maneuvering around files to keep it as small as possible. So We can even have him, because it's cut off. I don't love when it's cut off like that, so I'm actually just going to line it up with the box here, so that way it looks pretty clean. But now we can see
26 midterm elections. He pointed back to the 2013 government shutdown as an example, when Republicans tried to repeal the Affordable Care Act and Democrats defeated them.
there was that little space at the beginning where he hadn't started talking, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut that. You can see him taking his breath. And then I'm just going to hit that S button again and delete this. And sometimes I like to have a little bit of varying shots, so I'm just going to go ahead and do what we did earlier. If you take those round dots outside of the Instagram like parameters, it will cut off and you can see how the box is still around it, but you can move things around. So you can kind of maneuver the frames a bit so he's a little bit more upfront. So we'll just have that for the last bit.
That's why Democrats are putting healthcare.
Canva makes it super easy. I just go to share and access level. So I will change it to my INDG team and I'll copy the link and send it to them. And then they can come in and edit and move things around as they please. And it will all make the changes as they come. So once we've agreed on the timeline and the photos and everything, it's caption time. Here, let's go. If you've never used the captions before, you're going to go to apps and you're going to scroll down here to more from Canva. These are the Canva built-in apps. There's a lot of different ones you can choose to like connect with things. So like LinkedIn has one, Meta has some, but we're just going to focus on the captions one here. You'll see on my left bar, I have a lot of like commonly used things. So once I pull something up once, it typically will show up here. So I want both Canva. I'm going to select both of the suitable options. It just because we took the background off that one, it's going to count it as something different. So we want to make sure we're captioning all of it, and we're just going to hit generate captions. Let's click them and we can go up here. And so now we have this captions options. And so now we'll see the full thing, and it's split up by page. So that means the different segments. So page 4, page 5, page 6. And I'm going through and kind of making sure the right things are on the page at the right time. So just listening through.
Hakeem Jeffries thinks that.
And first thing I see, we have some overlap. So the captions are on top of this. So I want my captions to stay in the same spot. So I'm going to select these two items and just move this up just so we don't have any overlap. That's like we said, we keep things out of the bottom, and on the right, we don't want anything overlapping so we can't read. So we'll go back.
Hakeem Jeffries thinks Democrats are in a strong position in a potential shutdown with President Donald Trump, and it's all about healthcare. So
see that random Jeffries there? We don't want that because it's a different page. So we want to make sure,
Can I ask
we can even see in page 3 it's there.
Yeah, and I noticed instead of moving the captions higher, you moved the lower third higher.
Yeah. So I try to keep the captions in the same place across the video as much as possible. You don't want your viewer to be like constantly trying to find on the page where the captions are. And even though that was a pretty small difference, it's just a continuity thing. I also try to keep them in the lower third. We found that's where their eyes naturally go to read the captions. So that's what I'm thinking about there. Yeah. And then here, this one's just a simple thing I'm just reading. Bloomberg government should be capitalized.
It went on next year in the 2026 midterm elections. He pointed.
So that he is in a weird spot. So like I said, I'm going to go back. Where's the captions?
So you're generally trying to make sure there aren't any sort of like cutoffs, anything like hanging at the beginning or the end.
Yeah, and I'm looking for grammar too. That's a big thing that I think sets apart journalists from like the average like social media user. People will roast us if things are misspelled or things like that. So I'm just always thinking about that. Alrighty, so then, like I said, I'll usually then send this again for edits for captions, just because you never know if you heard something one way, you miss something, I always think it's really important to have another person look at your stuff, no matter how many years you've been doing it. I always have my editor check things. And that is those four big things. So now what you could do is you just share and you can download your MP4 file and post it out to any platform you would like.
Well, this is all very helpful. Abigail, thank you again so much. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.